But I'm interested whether, as you see yourself going forward, the organization will get to a size where it's going to be very difficult for you to be that, I want to use the word sort of father figure, that's creating this amazing culture. So is that a concern for you, or can you see a way where some of your people are taking these kind of initiatives so that it's not just dependent on you, that you're growing a culture that can grow to a large organization?
Yeah. Yes, it's a huge concern. As the company grows, will the culture dilute? Is a word I look at. I've seen it happen with other organizations I've worked where they've got bigger and their ethos gets lost, or the original reason they started, gets convoluted or mixed up, or just because about money. I think one of the ways I try to avoid that is telling the story of why I started Freers Partnerships to every single person who comes into the organization. So I will tell them I started out of frustration. I will tell them it was because I didn't like the way companies treated security people. They usually, they treat us like a number. They'll usually say the next line because they've had that experience. And there was a point where a couple of years in, people were coming to start work, and I was like, man, they're bringing all of this frustration and anger from how they've been treated with other companies, believing I'm the same as those other companies. And at that point, I hadn't quite got the wording and how to articulate what we're about, down packed to have that emotional impact. And I was like, I'm going to have to put these guys through a decontamination chamber because they're just bringing all this toxic energy into my business. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're about, And it was really obvious how, the effects of other companies was weighing on them. And they just expected me to be the same. And even though I was saying what I was saying, it was like, yeah, right, I've heard this before. It was that kind of response. And so I was like, okay, I need to tell them why I started Freers Partnerships, share the journey, and then tell them my own story as to the experience I've had. And then it was, okay, I like this guy, I trust this guy. And one of the things I picked up with the organization I used to work for was they, because I worked in their office and I would listen to them do their interviews, and they made out like they were this amazing company. And I worked in the office, but I was also working on the front line. And people on the front line were saying something completely different than the guys in the office. And intuitively at the time, I understood your culture is what your people say it is, not what you as a manager or a boss say it is. So when I started my business, I was like, okay, you got to make sure, what do I want my people to be saying about Freers Partnerships? So that was where I put most of the focus and work into, was how do I get the people to say what Freers Partnerships is? What do I need to do? How do I need to treat them? What do they need to see from me first? And then when they go to work, what needs to happen there as well? So that drove everything, because I knew my culture is what they say it is. I can say whatever I want to people, and I confidently in my interviews say, look, I can say whatever I want to say about Freers Partnerships. I'm not going to put down my own business, but it's not what I say it is. It's what the guys you go to work say it is. So when you go to work, ask them questions. I don't think many security companies could say that confidently. Ask those questions. They will tell you how they've been treated, in the years that they've been with me, what we're about, that is the company. And then equally, I say to them, you can say anything great about yourself right now, but who you are is what I hear about you from your colleagues and from my clients. So be aware that it's a two-way process. And then I always put on the table as well that it's a symbiotic relationship. I need you, you need me. I've got a company, I've got work, but without workers, there's no company. Without the work and the environment that people look forward to go into work in, that's been created not just by me, but the people in the business. So those values are, it's honesty that's one of them. Openness, the empowering of other people, other human beings. And the story that you alluded to was something that just evolved this year from something negative that evolved into something really super positive. And basically, I had a team leader in a venue. I had to put him into place quite quickly, and I knew he wasn't going to be long in my business. But the client, I had to play a little bit of politics here because the client liked him, and I was like, okay, let's keep him in place for the time being. But I knew it wasn't going to last because he just didn't have certain qualities about him. And eventually, he ended up leaving that particular venue, and it was a 6-man team, and I didn't put another team leader in place. And consciously, intuitively, it's like, let's see what happens. And this is the place with the round table. It turned into a round table. When they have their debriefs at the end of the night, they all share their experiences. They all look for solutions. They've come to me and say, "Oh, Lex, we're thinking of doing this and this. We've noticed this, and we want to mitigate it by doing this." And I remember when the first time the spokesperson came to and put that towards me, and then he got self-conscious afterwards. He's like, "Have I overstepped?" I was like, "No, not at all." I'm like, "I'm very impressed that you guys have taken responsibility of your venue." And I was talking to Tom about this before. The operations manager came. Was one day. He was like, "Lex, who's the team leader?" And I said, "There isn't one." I said, "It's a round table. It's a collective. They've taken collective responsibilities." Like, "Yeah, I think we need a team leader." And I was like, I think it's working, but because it's not a model that he's used to, it was like, no. But I was like, just watch. I said, if it goes wrong, I'm happy to put in a team leader, but it seems to be working at this particular moment in time. And this was 2 months ago. He hasn't mentioned it again because he's seen that it actually works. Now, I don't know if it's down to the characters in the team or that will be a model that we can replicate in other venues, but I sat in on one of their debriefs on Saturday night. Man, it's fantastic to see. It's amazing. Every single person, nobody talked over another person. It was absolute maximum respect for each individual and the part that they play in the success of the venue. And even the manager of the particular venue, he's come back and he's complimented me and said, "Your team are amazing." And I don't even know if I should say this on camera because I don't know where it's going to go. But he was like, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. It might go out to the wrong.
But you're highlighting something that is so exciting. And if you look at the models of the future organisation and the way that a future organisation, it's exactly as you describe. Mm-hmm. And what is amazing is if you empower people, fundamentally, people come from a positive place. Mm-hmm. Yes. But they so often, almost always, are in an environment where it is assumed that they're going to have negative intent or that they're going to need to be
micromanaged.
And so that's what you get.
Yes.
But if you give people the space,
mm-hmm.
It is amazing. I love that story. We're nearly out of time. Jessica, have you got a final?
I just want to say thank you. I really, really enjoyed listening.
Can I just say one more thing about that team?
Go for it.
Because this amazed me. One of the people on that team has moved to Essex. He was living in London. He's moved to Essex. The venue is on the other side of London from him. And he was like, "Oh, Lex, do you have other places where I can work actually closer to home or the hours are more conducive to him getting back on time?" And I was like, we looked at it and I was like, "I've got this." He's like, "No, that can't work." He said to me, "I'll stay there." He finishes work about 2:30 in the morning and he won't get home till 7. Wow. But he said, "I will stay because I love working there." And I was like, that's a massive sacrifice of time. But because of that culture that they have, he would rather be a part of that than to move somewhere else or move to another organisation that's closer to home and more convenient. And that I've got to make sure other people have this experience. It's on me to build the business and make sure we hold on to this culture and other people have this experience of enjoying their work. And that's my responsibility. Like, I see that. Bring this to more people. It's not about money. It's like, yes, every business has to make money, to continue. But this has gone beyond that now. That kind of feedback is like, it humbles me, right? And I was like, are you sure that you're happy to do that? And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay, I'll put your money up just as to help you with travel and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, thanks boss. I'm like, no, you're showing, you're going above and beyond with your loyalty here. So I need to, show you my appreciation in return. And just saying thank you sometimes isn't enough. You kind of need to do it in action. So yeah, my guys surprise me pretty much every week now. I'm being surprised by the people that are in my organization and just the commitment and the loyalty that they have to Freers Partnerships.